Lesson 20 problem set. We're going to practice a couple different strategies. Look at B. Now, first of all, you know we don't really check going horizontal, do we? So don't do it like that. Let's take a look at B. First thing I want you to do is write the problem down. So what goes inside the doghouse? 49 divided by, okay. So 49 divided by 21. What could I skip count by? 21s. So 21, 42, 63,
84.
Okay. So what was your pattern for skip counting? Count by ones in the ones column, count by twos in the tens column. Okay? Let's just say that counting by 21s is harder than you want it to be. So here's the solution Dwayne gives us. Go ahead and round this to the nearest 10. 20. Then just skip count by 20s. Whoops. Okay, it's a little different, but not much, is it?
Add 1.
Right. So there's two options. If you would prefer to skip count by the actual divisor, do it. If you would prefer to round your divisor to the nearest 10 and then skip count, you're still going to have an estimate that gets you close. Okay? That's one change he made. So let's take a look at it. What number is closest to 49 without going over?
63.
Without going over.
42.
Right. And if you chose to round it, it would be 40. Okay? Either way you look at it, what are we going to try? 1, 2. What are we going to try? A 2. Now, I cannot make 21 groups out of the number 4. So a 0 needs to hold my place value. Unless you're getting good enough at this that you know where to write your 2. Okay? Your 2 goes above what number?
9.
The 9. Now here's the change Dwayne made. Let's just say that we went ahead and rounded our number 21 to 20 and then counted by 20s. Okay? This 40 right here is not the actual number that I need to write. So I've got to go over to the side and multiply 21 times 2 to get my answer. Okay?
And then that's part of
So 42 is what I write in my division problem. We'll keep practicing. Why aren't you writing this? Why would you just be sitting there? Okay? So 9 minus 2 is 7 less than my divisor. It is, okay? So, lo and behold, Dwayne's on to something here. If I have to go over here and write this multiplication problem, then part of my checking is already done for me. Clever, huh? So, if I check the problem, 21 times 2 plus 7, what's the only thing I have left to do for checking it? Plus 7 equals 49. Is that the dividend I started with? Yes, it is. Okay, let's go down to C and we're going to practice the same thing. Instead of the number 39, go ahead and write your problem first. Make sure you've got it in the right place. Instead of the number 39, what could we skip count by? We could skip count by 40s, but we're going to have to know that it's too high. If I round this up, we're going to have to know it's too high. So what should we maybe skip count by?
30.
30s. So we could skip count by 30s here. Or we could skip count by 40s. Okay. Well, let's just see what 30s gives us. So 3, 6, 9, 12. Add your zeros. Okay, what number is closest to 78 without going over?
60.
60. So what number am I going to try?
2.
2. So over to the side, what number will I multiply by 2?
39.
39. The actual divisor. 39 times 2. Lo and behold, what do we have? 78. Laying your head down is not a choice in my classroom, just so you know. So 78 actually works perfectly, doesn't it? Am I done checking the problem?
Yes.
I am. Some people write remainder 0, but I really see no reason to do that. It's a waste of time, waste of energy, not much energy. Waste of lead. Okay, let's do D. So 84 divided by 32. What will we round 32 to? 2. 30. So count by threes. And add your 0. Now what number there is closest to 84 without going over?
60.
60. So what are we going to try again?
2.
A 2. Okay, now over here, what do I multiply by 2?
32 times 2.
32 times 2. What'd you get?
64.
So now I'm going to subtract. What did I get for my remainder?
20.
Is it less than my divisor?
Yes.
So I'm halfway done checking the problem already. What's the last thing I need to do here to finish checking this?
You need to add 20.
Add 20 to 64. So I really like Dwayne's new and improved way of combining estimating and skip counting. Okay? Sometimes, for instance, I was looking back at Jesus and I really feel like he skip counted by 32s and he already knew the answer here. But maybe I'm wrong, I'm just guessing, okay? Is skip counting by 32s okay with me? Of course it is. But if you want to make it easier on yourself, round the number first, okay? Just be careful, don't round it up. Okay, so let's go down to E. What do you think we should skip count by on this one, Cooper?
What? 7.
I agree. Let's write the problem. 77 divided by 25. And he says skip count by 25s, just like counting quarters. Okay?
77.
So write this down. Okay, help me skip count by quarters.
25, 50, 75, 100.
Right, and sometimes I say $1, $1.25, $1.50, okay? So if you ever get 25 for your divisor, get yourself to thinking about quarters, okay? All right, so which number is closest without going over? 75. Circle it. What do I write beside it? A 3. So what am I going to try?
25 times.
25 times 3. Where do I write it? Yeah. Should get 75. Which we already knew because we skip counted, right?
Then there'll be A2 of remainder.
Okay, you don't need to tell me what the answer is going to be. I think it's pretty obvious. So what's left to add into this, Katie?
2.
The 2. So add the 2, and it should check out. Okay? Now F is really fun.
It's easy.
I don't want to make that a 20 because going up is going to mess me up a little bit, okay? So what could I make the 17?
10.
I can make it 10, but that's too far away.
15.
Go ahead and write the problem first. And let's make it a 15. You already skipped count by, well, let's see if you get the same thing that the rest of us get, okay? All right, so help me skip count. I know it's 15, 30. What's 30 plus 15?
45.
What's 45 plus 15? 60. Then 75. Now, if you can memorize that 15 times 6 is 90, it will simplify your life. Okay? What comes after 90? 105. What comes after that?
125. Or 120.
Okay, so let's take a look at it. Which number is closest to 68 without going over?
60.
So how many numbers is that? 4. When you skip counted by 20s, did you get 4?
I got 3.
You got 3. So you might have had to adjust it. Okay? So let's see if this works. We're going to try a 4. And we're going to say 17 times 4. Or we might have to adjust it. You never know. What is 17 times 4?
28.
7 times 4 is 28. 4 plus 2. Uh-oh, we are right. So what would have happened to Corbin? He would have got a remainder that was larger than 17, right? Let's just do it. Let's just try it. 68 divided by 17. And he's going to try a 3, right? 68. 17 times 3 would be 51, right? 8 minus 1,
Which you're 1 shy.
you're 1 shy. So he actually got 17 for a remainder. If you ever get 17, the divisor is your remainder, you know that you have to go up 1 higher. So the worst thing that would have happened to Corbin is he would have had to change it to a 4. Okay? Is it still okay to skip count by one of those other numbers that you rounded to? Of course it is. I wouldn't go as far away as from 17 to 10, though. Am I done checking my problem? Yep. Okay, let's take a look at the problems on the back. Now, I'm going to have you talk with your table group here. But let me read the problem first. Okay, this says, when dividing 82 by 43, Linda estimated the quotient to be 2. Examine Linda's work. I like that word, examine. It means to look at it, but look at it carefully, right? Figure out what's wrong with it. And explain what she needs to do next. On the right, show how you would solve the problem. Now just wait on that one, okay? Talk to your group about Linda's work. Table 1, tell me what you talked about. When you looked at Linda's work, what did you notice?
We saw that 43 times 2 is 86, which is higher than the
Dividend, that's right. So 86 is too large. Did everyone else decide that? Okay. So instead of a 2, what should we try here?
3.
A 1. Okay. So 43 times 1. Go ahead and give that a try and see what you come up with.
Oh, I just learned this classmates.
Look for regrouping when you subtract. Okay, now how do we know if we're right? Because 39 is a pretty large remainder. It's not too big though. How do we know if we're right, Robert?
It's not as big as the...
It's not as big as the divisor, okay? So if we check it, it's probably going to check out. What did Cooper say we could do yesterday? If our quotient is 1 What can we just add together?
43.
43 plus 39. Let's do that just to double check ourselves. Is that what we started with? Yes, it is. Okay. Right, how you doing? Number 3 are these problems I love. And they're on your next test. Okay? So let's take a look at number 3. And as we read through this, we're going to put some things on our paper. Okay? So it says a number divided by 43 as a quotient of 3 with a remainder, with 28 as a remainder. Find the number, show your work. Now, last time we had to come up with a number. What did we call it? It was a variable. So a variable is a letter. Was this before Christmas? No, I don't think so. It was last week, kids. What letter did we? We called it an N. Everybody write a lowercase n. Now it says a number divided by 43. Write that down. Now last week we wrote it going across, but then we had to switch it anyway, didn't we? Mm-hmm. So a number divided by 43 has a quotient of 3. Where do I write my quotient?
On the top.
On the top. And a remainder of
28.
which 28 I could probably write down there, couldn't I? Might want to move it down a little bit though, Mrs. Lewis. There we go. Okay. All right, so here's your hint on how to find the dividend. What do you think you need to do, Amy?
43. 43. 3.
Amy? How do I figure out if this number right here is right in a normal problem?
You need to do 43 times 3 and then add the...
Good. So 43 times 3 is what? 129. And then she said add the remainder.
And you get 157.
Okay, so technically that number should match what's in the doghouse, right?
Yep.
Well, let's just try it, see if it works. What number am I going to write here?
157.
Now make sure you put the 3 on top of the 7. So when you write the number, everything has to line up, okay? And we said that 3 is the quotient. So 3 times 43, we already know it. What is it?
129.
129. Now subtract. 7 minus 9. You have to regroup. Good. 17 minus 9. 8. 4 minus 2 is, so where do we write?
Yes.
Yes. The number equals
And equals
157. Okay, now number 4 is kicking it up a notch. All right? I see some smiles out there, so I think this is making you happy. It says, write another division problem that has a quotient of 3 and a remainder of 28. Go ahead and write that down. Now there's only one rule for picking a divisor. And here's what I want you to think about before we answer this. Divide, multiply, subtract, check, bring down, right? When I check, what am I checking? Is my remainder what? Lower than your divisor. That's what we're checking, right? Okay, so what's the only rule for a divisor here? If I already know my remainder is going to be 28. My divisor has to be what? Larger or smaller than 28? Larger. So pick any number, Rustin. What? 43. We already did that. Don't pick the same one as up there.
29.
Rustin, pick any number. And don't say 29.
36.
36. Okay, everybody write it down. Trust me. All right, so how do we figure out the dividend? 36 times 3. Okay, 36 times 3. Don't shout out any answers. And then add my remainder, correct?
Wait, this problem is impossible to get on.
So if this matches, did I do my work right here?
Yeah.
Okay, so if this matches, I can put 136. Can you quit finishing my sentences, please? As my dividend. Now how am I going to find out if I'm right? Do the problem, right? So what is 3 times 36? 108. Go ahead and subtract. 6 minus 8?
8.
You can't subtract. 16 minus 8?
8.
2 minus 0?
2.
Did it work?
Yes.
So what's the only rule when you're coming up with the problem? You already know that the quotient is 3 and the remainder is 28.
Check if
Your divisor cannot be
bigger than
lower
lower
than your remainder. Your divisor has to be more than the remainder. Okay, let's do the last problem. And then you'll have plenty of time. Exit ticket and Zern. Okay. So this says Mrs. Silverstein or Stein sold 91 cupcakes at a food fair. The cupcakes were sold in boxes of a baker's dozen, which is 13. She sold all the cupcakes at $15 per box. How much money did she receive? Now this is a two-step problem. I want you to talk to your group about what you think you're going to do first. Okay, help me out. Table 6. Table 6. What do you think we should do first?
I think we should skip calculus.
Okay, well that's close. What problem should I write? First of all, I'm not going to call on you because you're making a scene.
91 times 13.
You're close.
15.
I'm going to divide 91 by 13. Do you agree?
Yes.
Because I've got to figure out how many boxes I need if I can put 13 cupcakes in a box. All right. So now, Mia, skip count by 13s. What do you think, kids? Skip count by 10s.
10.
I want to try 10s. Now, Robert's, you're not rolling your eyes, but it's very close to that. He's thinking, I can do 13s. Not really, okay? I know you can do 13s, but I want to show you what happens if you do 10s, okay? And that goes for a lot of you out there that know how to do this already. So if I skip count by 10s, okay, 10, 20,
30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90.
what number's closest to 91 without going over?
90.
But I rounded down.
80. You can't
So-
do that. You have to.
So should we try a 9 or try an 8?
8.
Let's try an 8, okay? Now somewhere over to the side, maybe right over here. No, we'll do it over here. I'm going to do 13 times 8. Let's see if I'm even close. Everybody do it. Do it.
I already did it.
You have 13 times 8 on your paper.
But I've got
Well, I don't care what the right answer is. I'm teaching you a strategy. What'd you get when you did 13 times 8? 104. Can I try an 8 then?
Yeah.
No, why not? Because 104 is too high. So what should we try now?
13 times 9.
13 times 7. Oh, this is looking good.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so what's the answer to 13 times 7? Okay, so Can I finish teaching? Now that's on my video. So the reason I wanted you to see this is I want you to see the value of doing the multiplication over to the side. If you round a number and you're not sure, do your multiplication over to the side or on a piece of scrap paper till you find the correct number. Does that make sense? Okay, so my answer here is what? 0. Okay, so now we know that there are 7 units or boxes, right? And we know that 1 unit equals what? $15. Now, on the last test, we had a little bit of trouble writing dollars and cents. So you need to make sure you do this correctly, okay? So if I have to figure out 7 units, Robert, what am I going to multiply 7 times?
Times 15.
7 times 15, but I think we can do that in our head because we know how to count by 15s. So let's count by 15s. You tell me what to write, and you write it while I do it. 15,
30,
45,
60, 75, 90, 125.
Okay, so is that 7 numbers?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the total amount of money for these 91 cupcakes is $105. And that's how you write it with dollars and cents. On the last test, we had people putting a dollar sign at the end, kind of like you do the cent sign. So I want to make sure we all realize how to write that.